Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a video about group behavior. So group behavior, as we said in class, is a behavioral adaptation that benefits the survival of a group of organisms through cooperation. So what that means is it's a learned trait that gets exhibited through the actions and behaviors of these organisms because it helps them to survive. So we're going to get into some examples of this. In our picture here, we can see some things that we already might be familiar with. From our Do Now in class, we were looking at a school of fish. And here we can see a pride of lions. We also have a herd here. These termites we call a colony. So there's all different kinds of words that we can use to describe groups of organisms working together. And we're going to look at some more examples of that. So this video is going to help us practice some of our literacy skills. So we're going to look at some different examples of group behavior, and then you're going to answer questions about the text. So I'm going to read the text aloud, and then the questions will follow. So just listen as I read along, or if you don't need to listen and you just want to read it by yourself, you can mute it, and then you can answer the questions. Wildebeest can be found in huge groups of over 1 million in eastern Africa. Wildebeest are very vulnerable to predators, which is why they live in such large herds. When a predator gets near, they make an alarm call to signal the other members of the herd. Wildebeest are part of the Great Migration, during which time they travel from the Serengeti in Tanzania to the grasslands in Kenya. Traveling in large herds is the safest way to make this journey. Another reason animals form groups is to gather food. Honeybees are very organized. Worker bees are the most plentiful bees in a colony. One of their jobs is to supply the colony with food by collecting nectar from plants. Worker bees communicate with each other by doing a waggle dance to direct other members of their hive to flowers. When they return to the hive, worker bees share food with other bees and feed the bee larvae. Without working as a group, they cannot build such an awesome home. So this is an example of different individuals within the colony, in this case, having different jobs. And so the worker bees and the queen bee are both female. And there's a bunch of worker bees and only one queen, but they are all female. And then we have our drone bees, which are male. And they all have their jobs and they all work together so that the health of the hive is in the best shape that it can be. These are our last two examples. We have the leafcutter ants that carry leaves back to their colony to use them as fertilizer and grow a fungus that is able to feed the entire colony of ants. And then we also have birds that migrate. So migrating itself is a behavioral adaptation because it's something that they do. It's part of their behavior that helps them to survive. And it's an example of group behavior because this shape that they form, this V formation, helps them to conserve energy and it helps them get to where they're going safely, and they work together to benefit the whole group. Okay, now that we've looked at some examples of group behavior, let's look at some data that can back this up. In class, we looked at figure 1, which showed us the survival rate of schools of fish based on their size. So we have a claim here that says 100 fish is the best size for a school of fish. And so we want to look at these two figures to find, well, what evidence can we see that supports that? So taking a look at figure 1 again, we can see, okay, it's asking us 100 fish. I see on the x-axis 100 fish is here. I follow that up and I see, you know what? Based on this evidence, we have a 90% survival rate when a school of fish is made up of 100 fish, and that's higher than any of the other school sizes. So that does support this claim. So figure 1 tells us that there is a 90% survival rate for 100 fish in a school, which is greater than, remember this symbol means greater than, the survival rate of other sizes. Awesome. Okay, so now let's look at figure 2. Figure 2 is showing us distribution. So it's a little bit different here, but on the y-axis, we're measuring the number of schools. Okay, and then here we see school size category. So this is the number of fish in the school. So for example, if we look right here, we see there are 20 schools with 1 to 10 fish in them. So that's how we can use this data. So let's go back to our claim. Our claim again is saying 100 fish is the best size. So I'm going to go to where I see 100 fish represented. There's my number of fish, and it is by far the most common school size because we have, let's say, about 150 schools that have anywhere from 50 to 100 fish in them. So we can say that there are 150 schools of fish with 51 to 100 fish, which again is greater than the amount of schools of other sizes. So if we were asked, does this evidence support the claim? Definitely figure 1 supports the claim. Figure 2 will also support the claim. There's a little bit of room to make an argument here for some more evidence because this isn't only talking about schools with 100 fish in them. It includes anywhere from 51 to 100. Plus, right here we have 101. 101 would not be that different than 100. So I think maybe there's some more evidence that we could look at that would be stronger. But this is how we can use this to support this claim with the information that we have. If you have any questions about the data, if you're struggling with the graph reading, we're definitely going to keep practicing, but we can take a closer look in office hours. And if you have any questions about group behavior, same thing. But great job, and we'll see you soon. Bye.